Hello and welcome to Perchance to Dram. I have today the Balcones Texas Rye whiskey. I love rye, and I've wanted to try the Balcones distillery's products out for a while. So very excited to have this here today. So let's check out the bottle. It is 100 proof, so 50% ABV, pot distilled straight rye whiskey. On the back, batch rye 10020-2, date June 10th, 2020. It's a certified Texas whiskey. Evolution of rye. Balcones Texas Straight Rye is the culmination of our love for rye whiskey, constant curiosity, and drive to make the best whiskey we can. We approach the style we love from a new perspective, adding nuance and subtlety to tradition. Our 100% rye mash bill, 100% rye mash bill, began with Elbin rye from Northwest Texas, accompanied by some crystal, chocolate, and roasted rye that give us a rich, sweet mid-palate and layers of chocolate over leather, tobacco, oak, and spice notes. I mean, you had me at leather and tobacco. Those are probably two of my favorite notes in whiskey. So we'll see if I pick those up here as much as I would in like a Isla whiskey that's been matured or finished in sherry oak. Signed by Jared Himstedt, the head distiller, and my favorite part of the whole bottle: never chill filtered or colored. So no wire hangers ever, as all whiskey should be. All right, let's try it out. Wow, that's quite, it's a little bit vegetal. I definitely get some grain influence here on the cork. Wow, coffee grounds. It's just a cork, but I always like doing that, right? Who doesn't? Alrighty. Oops. Wow. Look at that color. This is aged at least 24 months, it says. And yet with that aging, you get this color, right? But, you know, a lot of that comes from the casks and the char level, as well as the, location of the distillery in Texas, where, you can have fairly cold winters and then hot summers, which can really kind of supercharge that maturation and how much the spirit can suck in from the oak. So very excited, but I'm going to delay gratification a little bit here and explain a bit more about what makes Balcones special. Is they use, as it said on the bottle, pot stills, copper pot stills that they actually had made in Scotland and brought over by a Scottish company. And that's a big decision, because a lot of anyone who's run a business or been in a leadership position in a business knows that efficiency, it can be huge, and column stills that most of the bourbon or other American whiskey distillers use are much more efficient than copper pot stills, which require batch distillations, and that's a bit more of an intensive process just in the distilling side. And so reading a bit about Balcones and their history, they strike me as they like the traditional stuff, but also are willing to experiment with some of the new new grains or different maturation. I think they have a mesquite matured, which I'd like to try someday. I don't have it here in Utah, but so I like that mix of kind of the old and the new, and so have wanted to try this out for a while. And as I said, I love rye whiskey. It's probably probably the most reliable American whiskey that I can go to. Occasionally a high rye bourbon, maybe, or a really good wheated bourbon. But yeah, let's go for the nose. Oh my goodness. That is tortilla. And I'm not just saying that because it's Texas. I get tortilla on that. Yeah, and it has a quite, like, I wouldn't say vegetal, but related to plants. Maybe a little bit autumn leaves, moss, peppers. Wow. That's amazing. I can't quite put words to it. You definitely get a very, you're aware that it's something that is very grain influenced. Wow. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, there's some dough in there, but then there's also these kind of hints of like leaves or sand. There's something on this one that I can't quite pinpoint. That's amazing. That's really good. And okay, there. I mean, a little bit of chocolate, I guess I can get there, but it's not super sweet. It's a little drier. Wow. This is a killer whiskey. I mean, it's definitely, it's a little out there. Slash. Oh, that is a hell of a thing. Yeah. What on God's green earth? That is not what I expected at all. I mean, it is, but it's not. You don't expect that until you have it. So, I mean, first, I get that kind of tortilla, kind of, bread influence, and then it was just onto a sort of vegetal intensity in the finish. Starts with like burnt tortilla, and then, I mean, they say leather and tobacco on the bottle. I get a little of that. I think it skews a bit more toward some kind of weird, funky, like a leaf that has some ash on it or something. Crumbling leaf. Fall. A little bit of coffee there in the finish. And definitely I can sense a little chocolate there. Chocolate or carob. Wow. Ooh, oh my goodness. And then that's a little more, now I'm getting creme brulee almost, or rice pudding. rice, rice and beans almost. I mean this. I mean, and I swear I'm not saying that just because of Texas. That's what it's given me. Wow, this is a really cool whiskey. This is not for the faint of heart. If you're not, if you're not into something a little bit funky, a little bit weird, then steer clear, because that's amazing. Oof, a little too much burn there. I just get a very grainy kind of rice, and in between on the sweetness, it's really interesting. I could probably drink this all day and have very different perceptions and feelings each time on it. Tea, getting tea now, a little bit. Like loose leaf tea. Rooibos, like red bush tea, loose leaf. A little bit, just a tiny hint of fruit. I mean, this is a heck of a dram, and I think really, if you're interested at all in rye whiskey, or anything that's a little bit off center, then definitely give this a try. And I know I'll be picking up some more bottles of Balcones other expressions as the opportunity arises. All right, well, thanks for joining me today to drink perchance to dram, and y'all have a good one.